What's up guys, Nate here with Hood Racing Code coming at you with another video. Today's going to start kind of on a negative note, but I promise you by the end of the video it will be a complete turnaround. So long story short, kind of had a mishap yesterday. Good friend of mine, buddy Vinny, came over. It's like, hey, car's looking good, it's been running good, let's take it around the block real quick. So I was like, all right, yeah, sounds like a plan. Fire a little girl up, she's running like a top, and went around the block. And keep in mind, I had been already shooting clips and filming for the next video because I was going to post one soon, because I've been making a lot of headway with the car, getting stuff done, like got the hood repainted, I got the passenger fender repainted, like really just trying to make that final push to get this thing roady and like drivable before the summer's over, because I don't have a lot of time left. But as you guys may remember, I got rid of the stock hood latch and the stock secondary latch because they are prone to failing. And the car's always had hood pins on it, which is fine. And silly me, I didn't have the hood latched. Like, I didn't have the pins in, they were just hanging. And completely forgot that I had installed one MRT hood strut on the car because I was waiting to put the passenger side fender on just so I could get the final alignment of everything good, and when the other fender was on, I'd put the other hood strut on, and I'd no longer need a prop rod. There's a lot of stuff I was like filming to go into all that, but yeah, took the car on block, didn't have the hood pin in, and even with one hood strut, it turned the hood into a piece of paper. Like, it was like zero effort to open and close it. So yeah, probably coming down the street doing like 15-20 miles an hour, and nice little gust of wind caught it, and hood went up pretty hard. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, thank goodness, but we still got some work to do. So for you Foxbody guys that have seen this or may have had this happen to yourself, you already know what happened. So let me show you the damage. Yep, there she is. Cowl got pretty beat up. You can see I kind of started re-straightening this one, which I'll get into the methods for that. Luckily, no damage to the windshield, window trim, or the roof. It was all purely just the cowl, thank goodness. Even the driver's side fender that was mounted on the car did not get harmed, which is, I mean, this is the best outcome you can have from this, honestly. And the hood was in really good shape, but it kind of bent up the back corners a little bit, and I have a crack in the hood scoop I'm gonna have to repair. Again, completely my fault, right? Complete, just bonehead move on my part. The pins, they're there, they've been there. I always lock them in, but just did not think about it at all. And as soon as the thought popped in my head of, oh, did I pin the hood shut? It flew open. So it's just goes to show that make sure every time you take the car out, you do a quick walk around. Even in situations like this, if you got a hood on it, make sure the hood's pinned down or latched, because I do not wish this on anybody. This sucks. But I've been watching a lot of videos on it. I've seen a lot of videos in the past, big guys like the Craig 909 and Brutal, and many others that I've watched over the years and recently. It sucks. It happened, but what can you do? The rest of the car still looks great. Luckily, nothing else went wrong. It's just the cowl. So let's fix it and keep going. Like, we can't let this stop us now. We've already come so far. We've already had so many other problems and just like a lot of setbacks and stuff that really discouraged me. And I was like, oh, maybe this car just won't get done. But no. We've come this far. We ain't throwing in the towel. Not right now. So no sense crying about it. We just got to work with what we got and make it happen. So we're going to try and straighten out this cowl as best we can. It doesn't look as bad looking at it now all taken apart. It seems fairly straightforward. A lot of body work, but got to do what you got to do, right? Don't mind the train in the background. But basically, to start off this repair, again, you're going to want to completely disassemble your cowl, pull the wiper linkage out, because this method requires full access inside the cowl here. So basically what you're going to do, go get yourself a football. That's something you can inflate. This football takes this type of needle fitting, And luckily my little portable jump box has a little air compressor on the back that accommodates a screw-in type fitting. So you can see I kind of started pushing this back out here. It was folded in pretty good, but it's already kind of like popping itself back into shape. And there's not really any hard creases. Like you definitely see like there's somewhat of a crease here. It's not ideal at all. But I think we can straighten her out. If not, get her close and then put some Bondo on it, smooth it over. It sucks, but it is what it is. I can honestly care less about how this looks under here, as long because the cowl grill, ironically the one that was like 5 days old, got destroyed. But the cowl grill covers all of that, so I'm not really worried about how that's gonna look. I just want at least the ends to look correct, right? Needs to have the right fit. So yeah, you're just gonna take your air compressor and your football here, you know, cram it under the cowl and just try to work and massage the areas that got damaged as best as you can. So yeah, let's get into it. Well, I would show you guys what you do, but the inlet for the football went inside the football. So I gotta get another football. Got another football. See if maybe a little bit of oil will help. Maybe make it a little easier. You just get it in there. Just trying to scoop some of the oil in. Well, that'll do. I don't even have words. Hey guys, so I've been messing a lot more with this, trying to get it worked out as much as I can. Honestly, I think this might be as good as it gets. I think we're gonna end up slathering over some Bondo. So another thing that I ended up figuring out was I was able to take the stock scissor jack that the car came with. I had to cut the end of the handle out to slide the handle out so I could get a ratchet in here. I believe it's a 13/16 socket for this bolt here. But it's pretty good at, especially for this side of the cowl, where there's a lot more going on, and you can see there's another bracket underneath the skin here that kind of makes it more difficult to push up. And that's where my footballs kept popping, is because there's like a hole in this underneath bracket here, and the edges are frayed out like almost like a rivet's supposed to be there. But the sharp edges kept blowing holes in the footballs. So this was another good alternative, just like I said, stock scissor jack for the car. And it ended up being able to straighten out that side pretty good, but I think this is the limit of what we're really gonna get here. I'm gonna do a quick refit to make sure that the wiper linkage doesn't have any more interference on that side, because I don't know if y'all seen that. It did actually start, yep, right there. It started marking it from where it was contacting. So I'm gonna do a quick refit with that and see if it's a little bit better, and then I guess we'll start sanding it down and getting ready for some Bondo. So we'll see what happens. All right, so you can see here that the this like wiper drive thing on the driver's side here, it is still kind of pointed over to where it would contact, but in my head, I think you can see there's like alignment pegs in here to like help hold this in place as you tighten it. I think if I put a washer under the side closest to the middle of the car, it should help kind of actually redirect this away and keep it from contacting. So this isn't like the best fix. Obviously the best fix would be to cut the whole cowl out of the car, pull everything apart and whatnot and start over. But I think this will get us home. So yeah, let's get to sanding. You know, with it being sanded down like this, it really doesn't look like anything happened. But I promise you, there are plenty of high and low spots in this thing. This thing will never sit uniform ever again, unless you take it to Michelangelo and have him do the old hammer and dolly on it. But it is what it is. It's definitely better than what it was, without a doubt. As you guys remember at the start of this video, it was pretty beat. So, unfortunately, I don't have any Bondo here. I guess I used the last of it on the rocker, but I'll have to go get some more in the morning. So the game plan for tomorrow is I'm gonna wake up super early, run in the parts store, get some Bondo, probably come in here, take this fender back off, blow everything out, wipe everything down, and start friggin' slathering this thing up with Bondo like we're about to flip some burgers on a mug. But yeah, again, not ideal at all. But we're just gonna make the most of it and do what we gotta do. So yeah, I'll catch up with you guys in the morning. All right, guys, so I just wanted to show you this real quick because I'm trying to make this happen here. As you can see, we're getting an almost flat surface again, which is fantastic. However, due to the way the cowl got damaged, it still tapers downward the closer it gets to this opening. So in order to make this cowl fit properly, I will have to do a third coat of Bondo, at least on this section here, which is fine because it'll also fill a lot of these high and low spots just from the Bondo being spread the way I did it. And then I might do, this area feels okay. This needs to be knocked down more right here. You can feel the transition. It's an upward transition here. So this still needs to be knocked down, but this needs to be built up still. This cowl is a little like warped, I'm assuming from how NPD had it stored. But you can see it's almost flat, but we still have a little bit of a concave. So I wanna get this as close as possible. So I'm gonna do another coat tonight and then probably sand it out tomorrow. And hopefully this corner of the cowl will be done and I can jump onto the passenger side and do the same thing. And hopefully we can get this side rocked out because again, can't let this stop us, gotta do what we gotta do here. I wanna drive this car, and if this is what we gotta do to make it happen, I'm gonna do it. So yeah, I'm gonna do another coat of Bondo and keep sanding and show you guys the finished product tomorrow. All right, guys, so the cowl's almost done. We got the driver's side completely done. I'm pretty satisfied with the overall fit and finish of everything. And we're almost done with the passenger side here. I got everything smoothed out. Now, you notice how the Bondo isn't the prettiest right here. I don't care because the cowl covers it right there, right? Nobody's gonna look down my cowl at a car show and be like, Bondo. And even if you did, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not planning on selling the car, so I really don't care if it's Bondo or not. But the thing that you need to take away from this is no matter what happens, no matter what issues and problems or mistakes may occur along the way and stuff like this, you just got to keep it moving. You got to keep it going. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. This was like the last thing I wanted to do, and it's super discouraging. But with that being said, you guys have been hearing me talk about how badly I want to drive this car before the winter's here. So if I'm going to make that happen, I can't be sulking around about it. I just got to bust her out and get her done. So with that being said, this side, again, is almost complete. We got the spot putty, our first coat here. Because Bondo isn't always a perfect surface, right? It can get very porous depending how you mix it and how you apply it. So you'll see I'll probably have to do another coat, but there's little tiny pinholes that are low spots that need to be filled. So what I do is I'll go over with the tube of the spot putty and just individually go over certain clusters and individual dots that I can see, and then smooth it out with the squeegee, sand it down when it's dry, and then recheck my work. Now, this may be wasteful and excessive to some people, but this is just how I learned to do it and how I've always done it, and it still works out pretty well. One thing you do need to note, God forbid this ever happens to you, but if it does, make sure you, before you start realigning everything and smoothing everything out, make sure you have a new cowl that you can use as your reference. So what I've been doing, and I've shown you guys this, is I'll lay the cowl on and hold it in the mounting locations to see if it lays flat against the surface of the cowl here. This is crucial for making everything almost fit like it should from the factory. Because let's be honest, this thing's never gonna fit perfectly again, but we need to get it as close as we can. That way, us as enthusiasts, mechanics, whatever, are satisfied with the work we've done and we think we did a good job, you know. It looks good. And again, this car is not perfect, right? Definitely a 10-footer for sure, but the cowl isn't going to be something I'm always looking at, right? Once it's done, it's done. Everything will be put together. It is what it is. So, yes, I know I've been ranting here for a couple minutes now. I just wanted to share all that with you guys. That way, if you guys have to do anything like this at home, you know what you're getting into and the things you need to have at your disposal. So, yeah, I'm going to let that spot putty dry for a bit, and then we'll come through with some 400 and knock the spot putty down, and we can see if there's any other low spots we need to address. I'm sure there's going to be. And then from there, we can start masking the car off and getting the cowl ready for paint again. So yeah, I'll let you know how it turns out. All right, guys, so we got our primer laid down on here, and it's looking pretty good so far. You can definitely see in the primer where the Bondo is, but it is what it is. As far as transitions on the panel go, everything's looking really nice. So super excited about that. Everything is looking really smooth. One thing to note, and I can't stress this enough, tack rags. These guys here. Definitely wear gloves when you're using them because they have some kind of sticky residue on them, but they're perfect for doing a last check through after you get everything masked off and whatnot. Give it one last wipe down because there's so much dust and debris that you could have missed that'll end up showing up in your paint work. So definitely recommend using the tack cloths just to kind of do the final check over. But yeah, primer's looking really good. So start hitting this thing with some paint. All right, guys, so front end of the car is completely back together. The hood isn't perfect. I chose not to mess with it, mainly because it's a hood that I don't necessarily care that much about, and I just don't feel like repainting it again. The hood itself didn't get damaged, besides like the very back. Like you can see here, there's a couple scratches and whatnot on it, and then that corner is still slightly bent up, and then there's a crack in the hood scoop. But for the sake of time and whatnot, I'm just gonna run it. I really don't care. But cowl panel is all painted and cleared, reassembled, and it's looking really good. It's not perfect, but for what we have into it, I really can't complain. Yeah, not bad at all. Everything fits pretty fair for what it is. Again, the hood fitment is a little poor, but that's just because we're playing it safe and whatnot. So let me get the hood open here. Gotta mess with the hood pins a little bit, but everything's mint. As you can see, we have the MRT hood struts on here. Work beautifully. Another thing I didn't know was these hood hinges are a little more damaged than I originally thought. I thought I had straightened them out enough, but I guess not. So I had to find these like spacers to kind of lift the hood back to its proper position. It's like the hinges are sitting too low, even though I have the hood hinges pulled up as far as they'll go. So other than that, really not a big deal. From now on, this hood is always getting pinned down. Like anytime this car goes out, it's the first thing I'm checking. But again, for what we have into this, I think it came out pretty good. So again, like I said, we kind of started off on a rough note here, but we got it turned around and we're getting this thing back together. So that's really all I can ask for. So the only thing I'm really going to do now is work on getting this new antenna mounted. Like it's mounted on the fender, but I need to route the cable inside the car. Luckily, I don't have the little splash liner things. So I'm just going to jack the front of the car up, pull the tire off, and I'll be able to route it inside the car and then route it under the dash and whatnot. And then I'll be able to hook up like the radio and whatnot. But that'll probably be in the next video. But yeah. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And as you can see, if this happens to you, it is not the end of the world. This isn't perfect. Obviously, I could have put more time into it to make it like better. But you can't tell anything happened. So it's good enough for me. But all right, guys. Catch you in the next episode. Peace.